They say there's a certain kind of woman who walks into a room, and without saying a single word, every head turns. Not because she's the most beautiful, not because she's dressed in the most expensive clothes, but because her presence is undeniable. She carries an energy that you cannot fake, an energy that speaks before her lips even part. People feel it in their chest before they see it with their eyes. Carl Jung believed that this kind of magnetism has nothing to do with luck or chance. It is the result of a woman who has mastered herself, a woman who has done the inner work to become whole. She is not chasing approval. She is not trying to fit in. She is not molding herself to please anyone. And yet, people want her. Men admire her. Women respect her. Strangers remember her long after she's gone. You see, most people spend their lives bending, twisting, and performing for acceptance. But this woman does not. She has found the courage to be unapologetically herself. She knows when to speak and when to remain silent. She can be warm without being desperate. She can be kind without being a doormat. She can be strong without losing her softness. And because she doesn't cling, because she doesn't beg, because she doesn't perform, the world naturally leans toward her. This is not about beauty standards, trends, or some game to play in relationships. This is about becoming so deeply rooted in your own worth that you stop running after people and start attracting everything that is meant for you. This is about the quiet confidence that makes people feel safe in your presence, the inner stability that makes them trust you, and the emotional depth that makes them never forget you. If you stay with me for the next few minutes, you'll understand exactly why Carl Jung believed that the woman who integrates her light and her shadow, who becomes fully herself, becomes the woman everyone wants. And by the end, you'll see that this isn't just about others wanting you. It's about you finally wanting yourself. There is a way a woman can walk into a room and change the air without speaking a word. People cannot explain why they feel drawn to her, yet they find themselves leaning closer, wanting to know her, to understand her. She is not loud. She is not trying to prove anything, but she holds an energy that others crave. Carl Jung believed that we are drawn to people who awaken parts of ourselves we have not yet discovered. This woman becomes that mirror. She makes others feel as though they are meeting a hidden part of their own soul. And this is not by accident. She does not become this woman by chance, but by choice. She is not someone who waits for the world to validate her worth. She has already validated herself in the quiet hours when no one is watching. She knows her shadows and does not hide from them. She knows her light and does not need to force it into the eyes of others. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." She has done that work. She has faced the parts of herself she once feared, the insecurities, the patterns, the hidden wounds. She has learned to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. This makes her presence rare because she is not projecting her pain onto others. She is not needing someone else to fill her. She is already whole. The woman everyone wants is not the woman who pleases everyone. In fact, she is the opposite. She has boundaries that are not cold walls, but warm gates. She knows not everyone can enter, and that is what makes people value being let in. When she says yes, it means something. When she gives her time, it feels like a gift, and this is because she knows her own time and energy are precious. She does not spend them recklessly, because she has learned the truth, that giving to the wrong people will drain the power she needs to give to the right ones. She is magnetic not because she is flawless, but because she is real. She can laugh at herself. She can admit when she is wrong. but she can also stand firm when she knows she is right. There is a quiet authority in her that does not come from shouting, but from a deep inner certainty. Jung understood that the strongest force in attraction is authenticity. People sense when you are pretending, when you are bending yourself into shapes to be liked. But they also sense when you are being fully yourself. And when a woman lives in that truth, she becomes unforgettable. She does not chase attention, because she understands a paradox. When you stop chasing, you begin attracting. She has felt the difference between forcing connection and allowing it. She knows that desperation pushes people away, while presence pulls them in. And so, she lives in the present moment, not trying to rush the future or rewrite the past. When she is with you, she is truly with you. Her eyes are not looking over your shoulder for someone more interesting. Her mind is not calculating what she can get from you. She is simply there, and that rare gift of presence is what makes people crave her company. Her beauty is not just in how she looks, but in how she makes others feel. She makes you feel safe enough to be yourself, but challenged enough to grow. She can hold both softness and strength without losing balance. She knows that to be only soft is to be easily broken, but to be only strong is to become closed off. She lives in the space between, where her heart is open but her mind is clear. She understands that love is not given to everyone freely, but when she gives it, it is deep, loyal, and enduring. She has mastered the art of mystery, not by playing games, but by living a life that is full on its own. She has dreams, passions, and interests that exist whether or not someone else is watching. She is not waiting for someone to give her a reason to live fully. She is already living fully, and that is what makes people want to be part of her world. They do not feel she needs them to survive. They feel she chooses them. And to be chosen by someone who does not need you, but wants you, is one of the most powerful feelings a person can experience. Jung often spoke of individuation, the process of becoming your truest self. This woman has walked that path. She has integrated her contradictions. She knows she can be both nurturing and fierce, both compassionate and uncompromising. She has accepted that she is not here to be understood by everyone, only by those who are meant for her. And that is why people respect her, even if they do not fully understand her. She is not trying to be common ground. She is allowing herself to be rare terrain. She does not compete for attention because she knows her value is not measured by how many people notice her, but by how deeply the right people connect with her. She has learned the difference between being seen and being truly recognized. Being seen is about appearance, being recognized is about essence, and she chooses essence every time. This is why people remember her long after she leaves the room. She leaves an imprint not because of what she wore or what she said, but because of how she made them feel in her presence. In love, she is not the woman who begs for someone to stay. She is the woman who knows that if they want to leave, they are not hers to keep. She loves deeply, but without chains. She gives her heart fully, but not blindly. She understands that real connection cannot be forced, and this makes her love more powerful because it is never taken for granted. The man who earns it knows it is a rare and precious thing. To become this woman is not about changing who you are to fit some ideal. It is about peeling back the layers of conditioning that told you to be smaller, quieter, more agreeable. It is about returning to the truest version of yourself, the one you were before the world told you who to be. It is about making peace with your shadow, embracing your light, and walking into the world as someone who no longer needs permission to exist fully. This is the woman everyone wants, not because she is perfect, but because she is whole, And in a world where so many are still searching for themselves, wholeness is magnetic. She understands that the world will try to mold her into something easier to consume, but she refuses to be flattened into a version that pleases everyone. The woman everyone wants is not universally liked. She is deeply respected. Some misunderstand her. Some envy her. Some are intimidated by her. But no one forgets her. This is because she does not move through life seeking approval. She moves through life seeking truth. And the truth is often uncomfortable. But she does not shrink from it. She has learned that the most magnetic women are not the ones who smile to keep the peace, but the ones who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth without fear of losing you. She does not try to be less, so others can be more. She has no interest in dimming her light for the comfort of those still afraid of their own. She knows that when she stands in her fullness, she gives others silent permission to do the same. This is not arrogance. It is leadership of the quietest kind. It is influence without force. People follow her example not because she demands it, but because something inside them whispers. This is what freedom looks like. She understands the delicate dance between vulnerability and strength. Jung believed that the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide, holds the very power we need to become whole. She has gone into her own shadow willingly, facing the fears, the jealousy, the doubt, the heartbreak. She has learned to transform her wounds into wisdom. And when she speaks, it is from that place, not from theory, but from lived experience. People listen because they can feel she has been through the fire and emerged not burned, but forged. She never plays small to keep a relationship, because she knows the cost of betraying herself is far higher than the cost of losing someone. If you try to control her, she will not rebel loudly. She will simply slip away into a life where she is free again, and when she leaves completely. There are no half measures with her. You either have her fully or not at all. This is why those who lose her often feel the absence like a phantom limb. They reach for her energy, her presence, and find nothing there, and it changes them forever. She knows that attraction is not built on constant availability, but on the richness of her inner world. She has passions, hobbies, and projects that light her up from within. She does not pause her life waiting for someone to give her permission to live it. This makes her endlessly interesting. People want to be near her not just because she makes them feel good, but because she inspires them to live more fully themselves. Her life is not a stage waiting for a co-star. It is a full, living, breathing story in which others are welcome, but not required to join. She is graceful with her words, but not afraid of silence. She knows the power of pausing, of letting others fill the space, of letting a look say what 1,000 words cannot. When she speaks, she does not flood you with noise. She gives you just enough for your imagination to take flight. This is why people find themselves thinking about her hours, days, even years later. They replay conversations, moments, gestures. She plants seeds in people's minds without trying, and those seeds grow long after she is gone. Her confidence is not loud. It does not need to be. It is in the way she moves, the way she listens, the way she holds herself. She does not compete with others for attention because she understands something vital. Energy speaks louder than words. You cannot fake the calm assurance that comes from knowing who you are. And when you have that, people notice, even if they cannot explain why. She has learned that not every connection is meant to last forever. Some people are meant to teach her and then leave. Others are meant to stay, and they will find their way back no matter how much time passes. She is not afraid of endings because she understands they create space for new beginnings. She has stopped clinging to what is leaving and started trusting what is arriving. And this makes her presence even more magnetic, because she is not holding on to anyone out of fear. She loves from a place of choice, not need. She knows how to be alone without being lonely. Her solitude is not a prison, it is a sanctuary. She uses it to recharge, to think, to create. She does not fear silence, because in it she hears herself more clearly. Jung believed that the ability to be alone is essential to self-discovery, and she embodies this truth. She does not rush to fill every empty space with company, because she understands that emptiness is often where the deepest growth happens. And when she emerges from those quiet seasons, she is even more powerful. Her relationships are not built on constant agreement. She knows that real intimacy can handle friction, can handle difference, can handle the truth. She does not punish honesty, and she does not demand perfection. She values effort over image, authenticity over performance. This makes the people in her life feel free to be themselves around her. And that freedom is addictive. They do not have to play a role to be loved by her, and that is a rare gift. She never chases someone's attention because she understands the law of energy. What is meant for her will flow toward her without force. She does not need to manipulate or beg. She knows that chasing is rooted in fear, and she refuses to live from fear. Instead, she lives from faith. Faith in herself, faith in the timing of her life, faith that she does not need to grasp desperately for what is meant to stay. And when you meet a woman who trusts life this deeply, you cannot help but want to be close to her, hoping some of that trust will rub off on you. She is unforgettable not because she tries to be, but because she refuses to be anything other than herself. People are drawn to her because they can feel the difference between someone performing and someone living. She is not a mask. She is not a role. She is not a copy of anyone else. She is the rarest thing, an original, and that is what makes her the woman everyone wants. She knows that being desired is not the same as being valued. Many women have been desired for a moment and then forgotten, but she is remembered long after desire has cooled because she brings more than beauty. She brings a feeling, an energy that lingers. People may not recall every word she spoke or every detail of her face, but they remember the way she made them feel alive, seen and understood. And this is something beauty alone can never achieve. She understands that outer attraction may open the door, but it is her soul that invites people to stay. She has faced rejection and knows it is not the end of her worth. She has loved and lost without letting loss make her bitter. She has been underestimated and has turned that into quiet fuel, not loud revenge. She understands that her life is her own story, and she is not waiting for someone else to write the next chapter. She holds the pen. She writes the plot. And because of that, she never feels powerless. Even when life is unpredictable, she trusts her ability to navigate it. This self-trust is magnetic. People can sense it. They can feel she is not dependent on external validation to keep moving forward. Her presence is not rushed. She moves as though she has time, even in a world that tries to make her hurry. This calm pace makes others slow down around her, noticing the small things they would normally miss. When she talks to you, it feels like there is nowhere else she needs to be. That rare focus makes people open up in ways they did not expect. They tell her secrets they have not told anyone else, not because she asks, but because her presence feels like a safe place to lay them down. She knows that mystery is not about withholding, but about revealing herself slowly, with intention. She does not give all of herself to everyone at once. She understands that the deepest connections are built in layers, not floods. People are drawn to her because they sense there is always more to learn, more to discover. She is not a puzzle to be solved in one sitting. She is a story that unfolds over time, and those who are patient enough to stay are rewarded with depth they cannot find anywhere else. She carries herself with quiet dignity, not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that earns it without trying. She does not need to announce her worth, because it is evident in every choice she makes, from the way she treats herself to the way she treats others. She does not lower her standards out of fear of being alone, because she knows loneliness is not cured by the wrong company. She would rather be alone in truth than surrounded by people who cannot meet her in authenticity. She does not seek to control others. She knows that control is rooted in fear, and she has released the need to hold life in a tight grip. Instead, she lives in alignment, trusting that what matches her energy will remain without force. This makes her relationships lighter, freer, and more genuine. People stay because they want to, not because they are trapped. This voluntary closeness is more powerful than any tie built on obligation. She is selective with her energy. She knows that giving too much of herself to people who do not value it is like pouring water into a broken vessel. She has learned to protect her energy not by closing off, but by choosing wisely. Those who are let in feel it as an honor, because they know she does not give her time or heart carelessly. She is not afraid to walk away from situations that drain her, because she knows her worth is not up for negotiation. She understands that love is not about losing herself. She does not disappear into someone else's dreams, abandoning her own. She knows that the strongest relationships are built by two whole people walking side by side, not one person carrying the other. She does not ask anyone to complete her, because she is already complete. And this is why love with her feels free. It is not a transaction, but a gift. She has learned to listen to her intuition. She knows when a situation feels wrong, even if she cannot explain why. She has stopped ignoring that inner voice for the sake of politeness or to avoid discomfort. She trusts it now, knowing it is her deepest self guiding her toward what is right for her. This makes her harder to deceive, harder to manipulate, and harder to lose, because she does not stay where she is not truly valued. She is not interested in constant drama or chaos. She has outgrown the thrill of instability, choosing instead the deeper satisfaction of peace. She understands that peace is not boring. It is the foundation where joy can thrive. People who once lived in turbulence often find themselves craving her steadiness, her quiet way of grounding a room. And yet she is never dull. Her peace is alive, vibrant, and magnetic. She accepts that not everyone will like her, and she does not try to convince them. She knows that trying to win over everyone is a losing game, one that drains energy without reward. She focuses instead on those who see her, who value her without asking her to shrink. This is why her relationships, though fewer, are deeper, richer, and more enduring than most. She has learned that to be truly wanted, she must first want herself. She invests in her growth, her health, her passions. She treats herself as someone worthy of love, even in moments when no one else is giving it. This self-commitment radiates outward, attracting people who match that level of care. It is not arrogance. It is alignment. She is simply living as though she matters, and that makes others believe she does too. She knows the power of walking away with grace. She does not need to slam doors or prove a point. When she sees that a situation no longer serves her, she leaves without bitterness, carrying only the lessons with her. This dignity makes those she leaves behind remember her not with anger, but with a quiet respect, and sometimes with deep regret. She is aware that her energy is her greatest currency. It is not just about what she looks like, but how she makes people feel in her presence. She understands that people may forget words and actions, but they never forget energy. She guards hers with care, making sure it is not spent in places where it is not appreciated. She is both soft and strong, a combination that confuses those who believe a woman must be one or the other. Her softness allows her to love deeply, to empathize, to connect. Her strength ensures she can protect herself, stand up for her truth, and walk away when needed. This balance makes her both approachable and unshakable, a rare mix that draws people in. She no longer explains herself to those committed to misunderstanding her. She saves her explanations for those who truly seek to understand. This keeps her energy from being wasted on battles she cannot win, and allows her to focus on connections that matter. She knows that becoming the woman everyone wants is not about pleasing the world, but about living in such alignment with her truth that the right people cannot help but be drawn to her. She understands that her worth is not determined by how many want her, but by the quality of those who do. And so she continues to grow, to evolve, to live fully, not for their attention, but for her own fulfillment. And in doing so, she becomes exactly what everyone is searching for, even if they do not know it yet. She is not the woman who needs to be the loudest in the room, yet somehow she is the one you notice first. It is in the way she carries herself, the way her energy enters before her words do. She does not rush to be heard, because she knows her silence can be just as powerful as her voice. She understands that stillness can command more attention than noise, and she uses that truth with grace. She does not compete for attention because she lives in a space where competition is unnecessary. She is not comparing herself to the woman beside her or trying to outshine anyone. She understands that another woman's beauty does not erase her own. This confidence removes the tension others feel when they are around someone insecure. With her, there is space for everyone to be seen, and that makes her presence comforting as much as it is captivating. She knows her boundaries are not walls but invitations. They do not exist to keep people away, but to ensure that only those who come with genuine respect and care can stay. This makes every yes she gives more meaningful. Those in her circle know they are not there by default. They are there because she chose them. And choice, she knows, is far more powerful than obligation. She has learned that her emotional energy is sacred. She no longer spills it into arguments that go nowhere, nor does she waste it trying to convince someone of her worth. She understands that if someone cannot see her value, no amount of explaining will change that. Instead, she conserves her energy for the places where it will grow, not where it will be drained. She lives her life with purpose, even in the smallest things. She finds meaning in her daily rituals, whether it is how she starts her mornings or how she winds down at night. She creates moments that feel intentional, and this intentionality spills over into her relationships. People feel cared for in her presence because she does nothing halfway. If she is with you, she is truly with you. She no longer apologizes for taking up space. She knows that the world often teaches women to shrink, to be quieter, to be more agreeable. But she has unlearned those rules. She stands tall in her truth, even when it is uncomfortable for others. This strength is not loud or aggressive. It is steady and unshakable. People can feel it in her presence, and it changes the way they treat her. She is deeply connected to her own joy. She does not wait for others to bring it to her, nor does she tie it to things she cannot control. She creates joy in her own way, whether through creativity, nature, laughter, or the simple pleasure of a quiet moment. This self, Generated joy makes her light impossible to dim, because it is not dependent on external conditions. She understands the power of letting things unfold in their own time. She does not rush connections or force outcomes. She knows that anything built too quickly often lacks the depth to last. This patience makes people feel safe with her, because they sense she is not trying to push or pull them in any direction. She allows people to be, and in that freedom, they often find themselves drawn even closer to her. She has learned to value her peace above all else. She knows that drama, chaos, and constant tension are expensive, not in money, but in energy, health, and spirit. She guards her peace fiercely, and those who enter her life understand that this peace is not to be disturbed lightly. People stay in her life not just because they love her, but because they love how life feels when she is in it. She is not afraid of change. She welcomes it, knowing that growth often comes disguised as endings. She has released the fear of losing what is familiar because she trusts that something greater always follows. This trust makes her resilient in ways others cannot understand. Even in difficult moments, she holds herself with a quiet certainty that things will align again. She has stopped asking for permission to live the life she wants. She knows that waiting for approval will keep her stuck in a life that is too small. Instead, she listens to her own instincts, makes her own choices, and builds a life that reflects her truth. This autonomy makes her incredibly attractive, because it is rare to see someone so unapologetically living on their own terms. She knows that her worth is not tied to her relationship status. She is not waiting for someone to complete her. She is not holding her life in pause until a partner arrives. She is already living fully, already whole. This wholeness makes her relationships stronger when they come, because they are built on choice, not dependency. She does not need constant reassurance, because she reassures herself. She does not need constant attention, because she is already attentive to her own needs. This self-reliance makes her less demanding and more giving, because she is not operating from a place of lack. She gives freely, knowing she is already full. She has learned the value of walking away quietly. She does not need to create a storm to make her exit felt. She knows that her absence will speak for itself, and when she leaves with her dignity intact, carrying the peace she worked so hard to build. Those who once took her for granted often realize too late that they have lost something rare. She is not chasing an image of perfection, because she knows perfection is lifeless. Instead, she is chasing truth, growth, and depth. She embraces her flaws, knowing they make her real. She knows that the cracks in her soul are where the light enters, and she does not try to hide them. This realness is what makes people feel they can be themselves with her. She no longer fears outgrowing people. She understands that not everyone is meant to walk with her forever. Some are only meant for certain chapters, and when those chapters close, she lets them go without resentment. This allows her to move forward without the weight of the past holding her back. She knows her presence is a gift, and she gives it wisely. She understands that the woman everyone wants is not the one constantly available to everyone, but the one whose time and energy are treasures, rare, valuable, and unforgettable. And so she continues to live in alignment, not for the approval of others, but for the quiet knowing in her own soul that she is exactly who she is meant to be. And in living that way, she becomes the woman everyone remembers, the woman who lingers in thoughts, the woman who does not need to chase, because what is meant for her always finds her. She knows that her life is not measured by how many people know her name, but by how many lives are better because she touched them. She moves with intention, aware that every action, Every word, every glance carries energy. She chooses her words carefully, not to manipulate, but to speak in a way that plants seeds in the hearts of those who listen. She knows that the woman everyone wants is not the one who gives them fleeting excitement, but the one who leaves them with lasting transformation. She understands the difference between attention and connection. Attention can be bought, forced, or faked. Connection cannot. Connection is born in moments when souls meet, when presence is felt so deeply that time seems to slow down. She prioritizes connection over attention because she knows attention fades, but true connection lingers for a lifetime. She does not feel threatened by silence in relationships because she knows that comfort with silence is a sign of deep trust. She does not need constant chatter to feel secure. She understands that the strongest bonds are often held together by the unspoken. A look, a touch, a shared understanding. People feel safe with her because she does not demand they perform to keep her attention. She has faced moments of deep loneliness and turned them into seasons of growth. She has sat with her pain instead of numbing it, allowing it to teach her what she needed to learn. This self-work has given her a strength that is invisible to the casual observer but undeniable to those who truly know her. She walks through life with the quiet resilience of someone who has met herself in her darkest hour and decided to keep going anyway. She is not interested in winning people over through constant effort. She knows that if someone must be convinced to value her, they are not truly hers. Instead, she focuses on becoming the best version of herself, trusting that those who are meant for her will recognize her without needing persuasion. This trust removes the desperation that so often drives relationships into imbalance. She knows that being wanted by everyone is not a real goal. What she truly wants is to be wanted deeply by the right ones. She has learned that depth is rare in a world addicted to surface-level attraction, and she has no interest in lowering herself to fit shallow expectations. She will wait for the rare soul who sees her entirely, not just the parts that are convenient. She moves through life without pretending to be someone she is not. She has no mask for different crowds, no false charm for situations that do not resonate with her. This consistency makes people trust her. They know that what they see is what they get, and in a world of facades, that trust is magnetic. She understands that her beauty is not in competition with her intelligence, and her strength does not cancel out her softness. She holds both with balance. She can speak with confidence, but she can also listen deeply. She can take the lead when necessary, but she can also let others shine without feeling diminished. This balance creates harmony in her relationships because people feel she neither dominates nor disappears. She meets them as an equal. She knows that vulnerability is not weakness. She is not afraid to say when she is hurt, to admit when she is unsure, or to ask for help when needed. This openness draws people closer because it makes them feel safe to do the same. She does not hide behind an image of invincibility. Instead, she shows that strength and vulnerability can live side by side. She has learned to take care of her body, mind, and spirit as acts of self-respect, not just self-love. She does not view her well-being as optional. She knows that when she is healthy, clear-minded, and spiritually grounded, she moves through life with more clarity, power, and presence. People can sense this, even if they cannot name it. She has released the need to be everything to everyone. She knows that trying to meet everyone's expectations will only leave her drained and resentful. Instead, she focuses on living in alignment with her own values, knowing that the right people will align with her naturally. This freedom from people-pleasing has made her more authentic, and authenticity is irresistible. She understands that her presence is a choice, not an obligation. She does not stay in spaces where she is only tolerated. She knows that being somewhere out of habit or fear is the fastest way to lose herself. And so she walks away from places that cannot meet her energy, trusting that life will lead her somewhere better. She knows her worth even when others cannot see it. She does not measure herself by how quickly opportunities come or how many doors open immediately. She trusts timing. She trusts that what is meant for her will not pass her by. This trust gives her a calmness that people are drawn to in a restless world. She does not fear aging or change in her appearance, because she knows that true allure is timeless. Her value does not diminish with years, it deepens. Her wisdom grows, her self-knowledge expands, her presence becomes even more magnetic. She knows that the woman everyone wants is not a fixed image, but an evolving force. She lives her life in a way that when people leave her presence, they feel lighter, inspired, and more grounded. She is not remembered just for how she looked, but for how she made others feel about themselves. This is the kind of impact that cannot be faked, and it is why she remains unforgettable long after the first meeting. She knows that her greatest power is not in making people need her, but in making them choose her again and again, even when they are free to walk away. That choice is where the truest kind of love and loyalty live. And in being this woman, whole, grounded, authentic, magnetic, she does not have to try to be wanted. She simply is, and there is something magnetic about a woman who is deeply rooted in herself, because she moves through the world without that restless need to prove anything. She is not desperate for validation, because she already feels whole. This creates an energy that draws people in, not through loud declarations, but through quiet assurance. Her power is in her stillness, her confidence in the face of uncertainty, and her refusal to let the outside world dictate her value. This kind of presence is rare, and when others encounter it, they cannot help but be intrigued. She does not compete for attention, she allows attention to flow to her naturally. She is not trying to impress, yet her authenticity makes the deepest impression. In Jung's view, she has integrated both her light and her shadow. She does not hide the parts of herself that are imperfect, nor does she overexpose them. She simply allows them to exist, knowing that they are part of what makes her whole. People sense this and feel safe around her, because she gives them permission to be human too. She listens without waiting to speak. She observes without rushing to judge, and she speaks in a way that makes others feel seen. There is no force, only flow. There is no pretense, only truth. And that truth is what creates lasting connection. In relationships, she does not cling. She understands that love cannot be forced, that it must be given freely, and so she never traps someone with guilt or manipulation. Instead, she creates an environment where love can grow naturally. This is why people want her. Not just romantically, but as a friend, a partner, a leader, a presence in their life. They feel better when she is around, because she reminds them of what is possible when someone truly knows themselves. And the irony is, she never set out to become the woman everyone wants. She set out to become the woman she wanted to be. That is why she is magnetic. That is why people cannot forget her.